Hello, folks. Welcome to another episode of SMEs and Virtualization in Cloud. I'm Kong Yang with SolarWinds.
And I'm Todd Muirhead with VMware.
Hello, Todd.
Hey, Kong.
Awesome. So let's jump right into it because we have a lot to talk about. VMware vSphere 6.
Just came out. It's awesome.
Exactly.
It's kept us very busy here at VMware.
Yeah, March 12th it came out. You know how I found out about it? Because been on the beta, and Pat mentioned and Carl mentioned at PEX that it was going to be sometime Q1. So Q1, for those of you out there, end of March is the end of Q1. And I was on Twitter, and somebody from the Netherlands posted up a KV article that showed the release date, the GA date of March 12th, and it was March 11th when he posted up that KV. And within 5 minutes, that KV article disappeared, like leaked dead. But people had it screen scraped and whatnot. And so it was like, oh, tomorrow's the day.
Well, yeah. I guess the exact day was a little bit of a secret, but everybody knew, like you said, it was coming soon. We've been very busy internally, obviously, with all kinds of efforts. I've actually spent the last few months working on testing with Oracle in a large monster VM. So up to 120 vCPUs, which is one of the new features with vSphere 6. So
Awesome.
With vSphere 5.5, we support up to 64 vCPUs per VM, and with 6, we support up to 128. So I did some testing up to 120 because that was the size of VM I could get on the server that I had.
Yeah.
And published this really cool white paper that shows the scale-up performance. And I was able to get essentially linear performance, very close to linear performance as you scale up all the way to 120.
And folks, we're going to link to that white paper when we post the video, and also on our blog post.
Yeah.
In there.
So that'll be cool. It's on Vroom. It's got several charts and graphs for all you guys that like that stuff.
Love donut charts.
So it's really cool. To get to work with VMs that are that large, and you think back to when we first had, I wasn't at VMware at the time, but when Virtual SMP first came out, going to go up to four vCPUs at first, I think, or was it 2? Anyway,
Yeah, I think you're.
that was
right
like everybody was like, oh, yes, it's so big and all that stuff, and now we're all the way up to 128 and getting good performance at those levels. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and the large number of vCPUs supported also ties into the performance counter of the week.
Oh yes. So during testing, with these large VMs, there's a lot of interest that I had personally in how the NUMA was working out, making sure that things were being scheduled properly. So I wanted to see where the virtual CPUs were scheduled on terms of physical CPUs. So there's a counter in the esxtop called physical CPU that allows you to see which physical CPU your virtual CPU is scheduled on. So you can see it in interactive mode from the CPU screen if you hit F to go into fields, and then select the group that has it, which I believe is CPU stats. But I often just look at it through the batch mode. So you pipe esxtop out to a batch file, and then you can view it in esxplot or whatever tool you like to use.
Very cool. So whether you're going from a few vCPUs all the way up to 128, you can utilize that to see which actual physical CPU your virtual CPUs are being scheduled upon.
Yeah,
and
just cool.
And speaking of that scheduling, that transitions us into free agency. Big signings, big contracts, big movement. The Cowboys, you guys are in, you guys filled your running back with McFadden, but you guys lost the leading rusher of the NFL.
Yeah, it's DeMarco Murray, the all-time single season rusher for the Cowboys. So he rushed more in a single season than Emmitt Smith ever rushed for in a single season. Anyway, yeah, they had to let him go because of the salary cap, and it just wasn't all going to fit. So to me, it's really cool to see the Cowboys, Jerry Jones and company, make what appears to be a really smart football move, and rely on a strong offensive line, and maybe not quite as good a running back as DeMarco Murray, but
I guess we'll see, because he went to the Eagles, which, based off of some of the analytics firms out there that analyze the teams, the Cowboys have the number 1 O-line. Excuse me. But the Eagles have a top 5 O-line. In fact, some publications have them right behind the Cowboys. So you guys will face DeMarco Murray twice a year.
That's the part that really stinks, because I hate the Eagles. But I like DeMarco Murray. He was a great player for us, but I can't root for him when he's playing for the Eagles.
Gotcha. Yeah, and then big news for my Seahawks. You know, we traded for Jimmy Graham, who's going to make a big difference.
He's a total stud, yeah.
Yes, in there. But you know, funny
Especially
thing.
in fantasy. Best
Yes.
tight end in the world in fantasy.
Gronk might say something about that, but you know, I concur. It's going to be interesting who drafts him because I think Travis has had Jimmy Graham the past few years that
Yeah.
we've been in that league, right? He's definitely a Jimmy Graham fan in there. But it makes it interesting. You know, we traded away a 1 and our all-star center, so give to get.
You guys are facing the same issues that a lot of teams are facing, which has caused all this movement, is with the salary cap and the contracts getting to be so big and people realizing that you have to let good players go and move things around in order to make it all work. So when you're successful and you go to the Super Bowl,
Yeah.
you know, then, I mean, you've got a lot of good players, and then they're going to get big contracts, and you have to make choices.
Exactly. Well, folks, physical CPUs, check out Todd's white paper on monster VMs. We'll call him, instead of Marvin, we'll call him the Muirhead in there.
I'm not a monster.
Only in the virtual sense, my friend. But until next time, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, everybody.